All right, so what should we use? Should we use AWD or should we use a 3PL? It's a great question and not one that is very easily answered, but I'm going to give you some really good tips today and some ideas that are going to help you understand which might be best for your business. And as always, these rates and everything we're going to talk about today are going to change. This is 2026 rates for AWD and kind of averages for 3PLs. But these are going to change depending on the year and which 3PL and such you are using. But let's go ahead and dive into this just to give you an idea on which might be better for your business. So AWD, if you're not familiar, I'm going to put up here at the top of the screen here a starter video where you can learn more about AWD. But in essence, this is Amazon's version of an extremely basic 3PL. Inbound and outbound in storage. That's it. No prepping or anything like that. And of course, we all probably know 3PLs. This is one example, Zon Prep, that I see pop up a lot. And they do the same kind of thing, basic storage, inbound and outbound of your product, but then they also typically do a lot of different prepping services and kitting and consolidation and things like that. So they're much more advanced than Amazon AWD basics. But what we're here to do is to figure out what is best for your business. So I created this calculator that's going to give us an idea on what it would cost to send your products into AWD and store it for a couple months, 2-3 months, and drip feed that into Amazon FBA, which is the final destination that we're trying to get it to before we sell it to the customers. So AWD is very transparent, which is nice compared to most 3PLs, right? You don't have to do a lot of guesswork as to how much it's going to cost per unit. Just a little bit of calculation, we'll be able to figure that out. AWD is 100% based on the case pack of your product. So tip number one is to make sure that you have your case pack extremely optimized for AWD, which basically means the more units you fit in the box, the cheaper it's going to be because they're billing you on a per box basis. So on this calculator here, we've got some inputs. So the first input here is how many units you're fitting in a box. And I'm saying 100 per box. This is a shipment of 10. It doesn't matter quite so much for calculating the per unit basis, but we're just throwing in 10 boxes. We can even make it a little bit more, like 20 boxes if we wanted to. And then you're putting in the dimensions of your case pack in inches here, how many months of storage you want to keep in AWD, which region you're going to be sending it to. Because if you can see over here, currently in 2026, Amazon is charging a higher fee to store on the West Coast versus all of their other platforms. So if you're able to get it into someplace other than California, it's going to be cheaper for you. And then they've got the inbound and outbound processing fee per box, and then a transportation fee based on the cubic feet of your box as well. So let's just calculate an exact pallet. So a pallet that you can send into Amazon is typically 48 inches by 48 inches by 72 inches. I like to use this website here called onpallet.com for calculating how many boxes I could fit on a pallet. So if we're using this 24 by 10 by 12, let's see what we've got here. 24 inches by 20 by 12. And the weight of the package doesn't matter too much, but we'll just throw in 50 pounds. We're going to use a standard 48 by 40 and loading height of 72 inches, which is the maximum height that Amazon lets you send in. Now, AWD has implemented floor loading if you're sending in, larger amounts like a full truckload or something like that, so you can skip the pallet part. But if you're using pallets, 48 by 40 by 72 is what we're looking at. So that is almost a perfect case pack in terms of the size of the pallet. Now we're fitting 4 boxes per row, and I'll go ahead and select that. So we are getting a 6 layers and utilizing 99.9%. So this is like the perfect of perfect case packs for sending into Amazon. You can fit it perfectly on a pallet. If you're sending it into pallets anyways, you're wasting almost no space. So this is a really good calculator for doing that. Let's say if we had done, let's just give some random here. We don't have an optimized case pack. Now we're fitting 6 per layer, and 6 layers, 93% surface volume used, 86 volume used, or 93% of the surface was used, 86%. So not quite as perfect as the other case pack. So cool little calculator to figure that out if you're maximizing. But if we go back to the 24 by 20 by 12 and calculate, so that is 24 packages. So let's look at 24 packages for an exact pallet here. So 24 boxes in the shipment. We're sending it to some other place than the West, so we get a little bit better rates. We're doing the Amazon Manage. Now we've got a couple different options here. Base, which is just the normal rate. Smart Storage, which basically means that you've had enough stock in AWD for them to drip feed into FBA. And so they're giving you a little bit better rate. And then Amazon Managed, which means you are maintaining enough storage in AWD to drip feed, plus you're using entirely Amazon shipping and freight, getting it into AWD, so you get the best possible rate for Amazon. So in this case, we are looking at a cost of about 9.5 cents per unit. Now this is just the AWD cost. If you want to put your inbound shipping into AWD, you can do that here. And it will calculate or add that in. So if you had, $200 charge for that pallet to send in, now it's calculating and taking that into account for you for your per AWD. Then we can flip over to the 3PL calculator, and let's just do something similar. So 100 units, 24 boxes, 24 by 20 by 12, 2 months of storage. Now, what I did here, because 3PLs are extremely difficult to calculate exactly. So right here, we are basing this on the inbound, outbound, and then monthly storage on a pallet. So your 3PL to receive this full pallet, store this pallet for 2 months, and then ship out the full pallet to FBA. There's probably going to be other fees related to this, but every 3PL is different. So you need to look at your specific 3PL and get quotes for this. Plus, when you're sending into FBA, you're going to want to send probably at least 5 pallets to 5 different locations, or 4 pallets to 4 different locations, so you can get rid of that inbound processing fee that they charge now. With AWD, you don't have to worry about that at all. Amazon takes care of that and eliminates that. You also don't have to worry about the low inventory fee if you're using Amazon AWD, because that theoretically should be eliminated as well. That is what Amazon says anyways. You got to always watch Amazon, make sure they're not charging you that stuff, but you can eliminate those fees. So in a perfect world, in a 3PL, you'd be getting charged about 3.8 cents per unit. Now that's for them to do nothing, not touch the boxes or anything. Just take the pallet off the truck, put it in a corner, leave it there for a couple months, take it out of the corner, put it on another truck and send it in. So in a perfect case, Amazon AWD, let's get rid of that shipping. is about, what is that, 3 times more expensive, 2.5 times more expensive than a 3PL. So if that's all you're doing, nothing else, a 3PL is cheaper. But typically, the rates in a 3PL are going to be more expensive. So for example, we're looking at a 72-inch tall pallet. A lot of 3PLs don't allow a 72-inch pallet. They might allow a 60-inch pallet on their racks or a 52-inch pallet on their racks high. So if you're sending them a 72-inch pallet, they're going to break that pallet down into 2 pallets, and now you're going to pay for storage for 2 pallets, plus probably a labor charge for breaking that pallet down and putting it into a separate pallet. If they're not coming in on pallets, then you're probably going to get charged to build those pallets, or you're going to get charged for bin storage if you're putting your product in bins. So that's why I'm saying it's a little bit complicated with 3PLs, exactly what you're going to get charged. But that's what we need to figure out. When you do contact a 3PL, you're going to be able to get these numbers in more detail, so you can put in these more exact inbound and outbound handling fees, and then any other costs that your 3PL is going to charge you, and be able to get a better breakdown and compare it to AWD. The good thing about AWD is it's very straightforward on a per box, but it's not always the cheapest. The more units you have per box, if we only had 20 units per box, now our per unit fee is up to 47. Where with your 3PL, it's not going to change as much. It's going up, obviously, quite a bit, but it's still cheaper. So Amazon is very heavy on the per unit. If you can maximize the per unit per box in your case pack, that is the most ideal. So for example, if we doubled this, because we've got currently 6 layers in here, right? If we doubled this to 24 inches, now we're getting, and then we're able to put 40 units in there. Now we're getting a better cost per unit. So 40 cents versus the 12 with 20 in it, 47 cents. So that's where optimizing your case pack comes in, but that's a whole nother video that we can dive into for that. So if you're utilizing a 3PL, you probably have some kind of invoice. This is just an example, one that I found online. So what you'd want to do is probably take like the last 2 or 3 months, if you're able to, get your total, remove any shipping, transportation fees, if you want to just get on a per unit basis and not include the shipping, because some of that shipping you're going to have to do anyway, sending into AWD. And then look at how many units you moved through your 3PL that month and divide your total by those units, and you'll get a much closer cost per unit breakdown for your 3PL. Then you can use our calculator here and determine if your costs with your 3PL are less than AWD. So I'm going to put this calculator in a link with this video. You'll be able to find it, but you can also head over to AmazonStoragePros.com. We'll put a link for it there as well. So you can get a copy of this calculator and use it yourself to calculate these fees a little better. I wish I could give you a more exact cost for this. AWD, I can give you an exact cost. Once we have your dimensions of your case pack, I can give you the cost that it's going to be. And that's not going to change until Amazon increases its fees again, which of course we know in Amazon world always happens at some point. But your 3PL is going to be much harder. If you want us to break it all down for you, you can send us some of your most recent invoices from your 3PL. We can do all these calculations for you and figure that out also, and help you figure out exactly which way is going to be best. This is what we're experts at. So I'd love to jump on a call with you for sure. Just head on over to Amazon Storage Pros, click on your Get Free Storage Cost Audit, and we can talk through all of this stuff and make sure you are doing what's best for your business in logistics to ensure 3PL, AWD, directly shipping to FBA, directly shipping to AWD, floor loaded, pallet loaded, case pack optimization, all that great stuff. AmazonStoragePros.com. Again, to get this calculator, or you can get it here on Amazon Storage Pros, just click on this Learn button and we'll have it in there somewhere for you. But yeah, hope this helped. Again, with 3PLs, it's hard to give you an exact amount without knowing your specific situation. But we'd be happy to break it down for you. AmazonStoragePros.com, and we can walk through this entire process with you and help you out however you need. Again, AmazonStoragePros.com. My name is Todd Welch. I'm the CIO over there. Looking forward to talking with you. And until next time, happy selling.